All right, bring us back up, if you would, please.
You're up, Commissioner.
All right. Everyone that is going to participate in a hearing, we'll go ahead and have the Chief Deputy swear you in.
You'll be speaking. Will you please stand and raise your right hand?
You've already been sworn in, so.
Do you solemnly swear that any testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
So this is a hearing of the Board of Equalization under Idaho Law 63501. The Board of County Commissioners is required to convene as the BOE. We are here to determine market value under Idaho Code 63205. All real, personal, and operating property subject to property taxation must be assessed annually at market value for assessment purposes as of 12:01 a.m. of the first day of January in the year in which such property taxes are levied. Furthermore, under Idaho Code 63502, the function of the Board of Equalization shall be confined strictly to assuring that the market value of assessment purposes of property has been found by the assessor, and to the functions provided for in Chapter 6, Title 63 of Idaho Code relating to exemptions from taxation. It is hereby made the duty of the Board of Equalization to enforce and compel a proper classification and assessment of all property required under the provisions of this title to be entered on the property rolls, and in so doing, the Board of Equalization shall examine the rolls and shall rise or cause to be raised or lower or cause to be lowered the assessment of any property which in the judgment of the board has not been properly assessed. The taxpayer shall have the burden of proof in seeking affirmative relief to establish that the determination of the assessor is erroneous, including any determination of assessed value. A preponderance of the evidence shall suffice to sustain the burden of proof. We are here to discuss the market value of property. The condition, state, or information that is relevant to this topic. This is fact and not conjured or things you may think. We're not here to discuss taxes, past grievances, policy, personal income, or other issues. If you do not stick to the discussion as requested, your time will be reclaimed. The proceeding will go as follows. The property owner will be given 3 minutes. The white light will come on when you start, the yellow light comes on with 1 minute left, the red light goes off, your time's up. Questions for the assessor will come through the board. Then the assessor will be given 3 minutes, and questions from the appellant will come through the board. And then we'll give the appellant 2 minutes to answer any questions. The rules are be kind, direct all questions or comments to the board, the three of us. If your conduct is out of line, you will be warned, and if your conduct continues to be out of line, you will be asked to leave the proceedings. All right. Go ahead and state your name and who you're representing.
Okay. My name's Deb Hahn. I'm representing Maxine and Scott, Harry Scott from Arizona. They can't make it. She's ill. So I'm going just to read their emails. Okay, there's only 2 of them. Okay. It says, Dear Commissioner, below is my appeal to assess value change. I called and visited with Celeste about the amount. She said a well was part of the valuation beginning on 2019. This is an error as the property does not have a well, only a spring. Celeste removed the notation of a well and reduced this year's assessment. My husband and Harry and I are requesting reimbursements for well assessment for the years from 2019 to 2022. We ask for your consideration for our special situation that caused us to overlook this error. My husband had a traumatic heart surgery that resulted in a stroke and blindness in 2019. We were thrown into a crisis. Before that, he managed all the property business and would have noticed the increase in the valuations from the error. I was unprepared and disarrayed for several years as we coped with medical issues, emotional upheaval, and role reversal. I did not realize the increased valuation until now. Appeals process is unique circumstances, perhaps such as ours. We appreciate the kindness of our request. Thank you sincerely, Maxine and Harry.
Let me just say that we're here talking about the assessed value. We're not here talking about taxes. And if she's wanting to talk about an appeal on taxes, that's a whole different statement. But
Okay.
we cannot go back to past years and reimburse people for mistakes that were made. It's not legally, we're not
Okay.
able to do that.
Okay, well, I told them that I would let them know, so. So do I let them know, or do you let them know?
We'll let them know that this was upheld the way that it is.
Okay,
And that,
I will.
because they weren't really appealing the value, they was appealing taxes. And so
Okay, so where do you do that?
this process, well, and you can't come in and appeal previous year's taxes now.
Okay,
Uh,
well, I
there's
know
a
that.
time frame when-
I know that,
There's a time frame that can happen, and it's past due, and so
yeah, okay, well, that's all.
we're not going back to the school districts and everybody else and asking for money back. It just doesn't happen that way.
But I did say I would do this. so
And
I
it's
did.
much appreciated, and I'm sure that they will. But is there any questions? No. You guys had?
I didn't have a question either, but I was here and I did it, so.
Well, thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
very much,
Thank you for
guys.
doing that,
I would just ask for a motion on this one to uphold.
Mr. Chair, on parcel RPRRLR 4013500. I make a motion that we uphold the assessed value.
You're done. You're done. We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. James? Please state your name, and then your 3 minutes will begin.
I'm Jim Blake, and I'm representing Jim Blake.
Okay.
You ready for me?
Yep. Lights on.
I just want to make sure, I've never been here before, so is everybody here that I'm dealing with public servants? There's no private interests involved?
No.
Okay. I got a phone call before I came here from somebody. I don't know if that person's here. And basically it was browbeating me on the value of my property is based on our assessment of other properties that have been sold in and around you. There is no other properties like mine in and around me. Across from me is the Oak Tree Trailer Court. Next to me is another trailer. Next to that is another trailer that's abandoned. So I don't know how, you can look at my place and say, well, we're coming up with our numbers, based on, what we've seen sell that's just like your house in your area. It doesn't make any sense. But I kind of took it from the phone call. It was, maybe I shouldn't even be here because that's how it's going to go. That's our thing. We take all those numbers, based on what's sold, and we come up with a value. Well, that house that I bought for $40,000 in '88, was affordable to me at the time because of its location. The location value and what's around it hasn't changed. Backyard sagebrush, trailer court, which, by the way, statistically, as per the City of Pocatello Police Department, is one of the highest crime areas in Pocatello. Now, when it comes to evaluating my property for value, besides the trailer court and everything, is we're not located next to, stores or schools or anything like that. I don't have a garage. I don't have any of that. But a raise from the assessed value of last year, 195,513 to 226,822, that's $31,309 in 1 year. That's over 16%. I've lived there all my life. I've never owned another house. I've worked on it as best I can. I'm retired now, so, what I can do is limited to income, but, you know, I don't see where you come up with, all of a sudden, after all these years, we get a $31,309 assessment increase on a property isn't worth that.
Okay. Questions?
No questions.
Okay, your 3 minutes begin.
I just wanted to state that we do review the file when we talk to you, but I did not give you a call today, so I don't know who might have done that. Having said that, when we did talk to you, we did review the parcel to make sure that we were accurate. And we had one extra bathroom fixture, which would reduce the value $1,300. On these comparables, it looks like the value that they're using for the assessed value is less that $1,300. I would like to also state that all these homes are built late 1970s, 1980s, all very, very close in square footage. And subject property is coming in at $112 per square foot, where comparable 1 is $165, comparable 2 is $189, and comparable 3 is $159 per square foot. If you go to the next page, you are looking at the map. We do have one comparable that's fairly close, but the other two are a little bit far away. We do make, when we readjust on a yearly basis, location, 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 and he is, a subject property is being assessed based on the location, along with other things, year built, square footage, and that's all I've got. Thank you.
Okay. Comments about what you just said?
I think I addressed it. You know, there's nothing around me that's like me.
Okay.
The location, location, location.
Okay.
I'm sure you got Google Map, you can look at it. You know, I'm sworn, right? You know, why would I lie? You know, that's where I live. This amount of increase, you know, I don't see what she just said, how that justifies it.
All right, thank you. Commissioners, comments, questions?
Give me just a second,
Okay.
but go ahead if you've got anything.
No, I mean, I'd look at the comparables. The comparable on number 2 compared to the others. Still, the price per square foot is $112 compared to the other lowest is $159. I don't see any conflict in myself.
No, I don't either. In fact, as I look at your history, this is actually one of the lower years that your valuation's gone up.
Wrong.
Okay. Can you substantiate your claim there?
What was it last year?
Well, let me go back. In
Well, just
2019,
answer my question, please.
last year you went
If you
from,
get argumentative, we're done.
Well, he's
Last-
I'm
already,
just telling you,
I know, but he's trying to
You can
tell
answer
me
the
two
right way.
different things.
okay?
last
You know,
year,
let's go one piece at a time.
last year was a 15%
That's
increase.
2 warnings now. Third one, you're gone.
Yes, sir.
Last year was a 15% increase. The year before that was a 26% increase. The year before that was a 22% increase. So this is the lowest increase in 3 years. And so my question is, why did you decide to come this year as opposed to previous years when you had steeper increases?
Well, the percentage is based on a given amount, right? So the percentage of 195 and 16% comes to 31,000. That, to me, I think is ridiculous and out of line. You know, those percentages were based on lower beginning amounts. You know, and why I try to justify it with market analysis, you know, that, you know, there's a lot of people selling because, you know, a lot of people are buying from out of state, so they're trying to cash in. I get that. And I know we're not talking about taxes, but I know that's the end result. But over the years, sure, you know, based on, you know, percentages, it was what, 180, 170, 160 in that percentage. Now it's 190 something, and it's over 16%, and it's 31,000. This is getting out of control. That's why I'm here.
I was looking for a way to help you.
Thank you, sir.
Is what I was looking for. But I pulled up Google Earth and I look at your location and say, yes, I agree, you have a fairly unique location, but at the same time, there's room for development behind you, and there's other things there that contribute. And I think the assessor, again, as Commissioner Moser pointed out, you were at the low end of all the comparables that they used. So I struggle to find a way that I can help reduce the value. I feel your pain, I understand, but I'm not seeing room to make an adjustment. So,
I'd ask for a motion.
Mr. Chair, on parcel RPR, RPC PP 092901, I make a motion we uphold the assessed value.
We have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So we upheld the assessor's value. You have the ability to appeal. You can either go to the state, you're going to receive a notice of what happened here. You can go to the state, or you can go to the federal or district courts and appeal the decisions made by this board. All right, thank you.
That's it.
That's it.
Thanks for trying to help me.
I was trying.
All right. Please state your name and who you're here to represent.
My name is Mike Bartolome. I'm a member of the Bartolome Living Trust. Oh, time's a going. My appeal is for land only. It's based on kind of a flaw I see in the assessor's system. Anita and I had a good discussion about a week ago on this. I kind of know where she's at. She pretty well knows where I'm at. And I just want to bring this information up toward you. I'm not arguing my assessment of my home, comparison, I'm not bringing any of that stuff up. I'm trying to push this quick because I know that 3 minutes is going to go fast. You've already described Title 63. I don't need to talk about that. It's in my packet. My understanding of how the process works, the assessment, the mail a notice out, the levy, the tax statement, payments, all that. I was going to go through that. That's in my packet. Those are on my property. I'm not arguing any of those. It's just data. What I want to talk about is item number, it's the last page of the packet I've got on there. It's a parcel. So it's on page 8. It's 5.95 acres. Mine's 6.3 acres. Very similar. This parcel actually touches mine. It has the same topography. It has the same weeds and grasses, and it has the same dead trees standing from the Charlotte fire. It's basically the same thing. And I'm kind of zeroing in on this again. I'm not bringing mine into this that much. It's got a heading on the top of it. It says open space. I know, Ernie, you're not going to want to discuss or hear this, but from last year I remember this. I want to bring up just what is the definition of open space? What is it? It can be anything. If it's in the city impact, it might be a kid's play area. If it's up in the rural area where I'm at, it might be the developer's using it to make the 5 acre situation that he's faced with. It might be space between neighbors if it's a person. The definition's widespread. All in all, it really doesn't matter what the definition is. It's land. It's land, period. I don't care what anybody wants to call it. It's land. Back to Title 63, land's got to be assessed and taxed. I'm going to go straight. I don't know. Can I ask 3 questions? I know my time's up. This is the 3 questions, simple
I'll give you a little leadway.
Can you, I'm asking, can you show me, just like I put in my packet, can you show me you're gonna let me have it?
Go ahead.
Can you show me the assessment notice on this parcel number 8? Yes or no question, simple. Can you show me a tax statement on this parcel, page 8? And can you show me where tax payment, a receipt from Bannock County shows a tax payment on this parcel only?
Okay.
That's my 3 questions for them. Yes or no questions?
Okay.
And that question cannot be answered as yes or no. I did put in my packet a couple letters. One was from the State Board of Tax Appeals, as this did go to the State Board of Tax Appeals, and it does state, they worded it very well. Appellant was also troubled by several parcels in the immediate area classified as open area. In appellant's view, it was unfair for these properties to escape taxation while subjects' assessed values continue to climb. From the assessment information provided, most of the questioned parcels are owned by a homeowners association connected to a subdivision development. Though no plat map was provided and the record was otherwise rather thin on the issue, it appears the parcels are designated open or common areas for the benefit of owners in the subdivision. Common areas are not unusual in subdivision developments, and contrary to appellant's belief, the parcels are escaping taxation. Such is not true. The contributory value of common area is reflected in the assessment values of the properties within the subdivisions, as all owners enjoy the right to use such common areas. If you go down the next one, this is a little bit older of an email. It came from the State Tax Commission, and it was a question regarding common areas, open area. And there's 2 ways to value it. And it says the residential lots receive no additional value allocated to them, as the homeowner association would receive the assessment. That's number 2. Number 1 is allocated equally to the residential parcels in the subdivision. The actual category 25 common area. Now, all values are based on actual sales. So the sales for those individual lots within that subdivision, when they're purchasing that lot, they are also purchasing access to that open space. And so it is reflected in the sale of the property, and so therefore it is not escaping taxation. And so it's not a yes or no question. Sorry, I probably took longer.
I
than
disagree
you
with
did.
you. It is a yes or no question to me.
Okay.
I mean, and that's stated right there. That yes, it is being taxed. The tax is going to each of the homeowners because it's a common area. So it is being taxed. The other way to tax it is that the homeowners association gets the bill and pays the tax themselves. But in this one, all the surrounding properties are being taxed, paying the tax on that piece of property, because when the lot is sold, that is included in part of the assessed value of the property.
Correct.
Yes, ma'am.
Make another statement, and I know I've told Mr. Bartlemy this also, but right now, we have no way of showing, unfortunately, the taxpayer that difference, if we didn't have the common area. We are going to start a project. I've already talked to our plat department. We're going to start a project this year and pull every single common area and open space in Bannock County and rural subdivisions and just make sure that they're all being done correctly. I know that they are, but we just need to make sure and
So
reevaluate.
let's bring this back into why we are here.
Yes.
We're here to talk about assessed value, not taxes. is the property being assessed at the proper value?
Yes.
Correct.
That's a yes and no answer.
Yes.
Yes.
Which property? His property?
The open space
And his property.
and his property, yes.
But we don't know that because you haven't broken that out anywhere to demonstrate that.
Right.
So is his property assessed at the same value as all his neighbors, with the same reasoning?
He does not have access to the open space. It's for those individual lot owners and those individual.
So you're not part of the subdivision
I
with
am
the
not
open
part of
space?
that subdivision.
Okay, but those people that are being assessed for the value?
Yes.
Okay.
Would you educate me very quickly on how you break that assessment out for the other parcels? And just, let's say for broad purposes, we have 10 lots in the subdivision. Lot number 9 is the open space lot. And again, just broad space numbers, each of the lots are $100,000. How do you allocate the open space lot to the other lots? Do you just say, okay, each lot then gets assessed 10,000 for access to the open space?
Yes, it is based on the actual sales within that
And
subdivision.
we would look at the acreage, yes, like you're saying. We would look at that acreage too and just proportion it out.
Okay, but where is that broken out for the
It's-
landowner when they purchase it?
That part, I don't know. I don't know how they look at that in a sale. And we don't break it out in ours simply because we don't have a way to do that. at
But it
this
wouldn't
point.
be really broken out that way, in my opinion,
Right.
because it's in the homeowners association bylaws that says these 9 lots have access to this, and through that, you have the responsibility of the taxes. That's where it should be, is in the homeowners.
Theoretically,
Exactly.
but I think for transparency, the homeowners association should be the one billed for that open space lot. And then that's a part of your open space, or your dues of the homeowners
And we're gonna look at
association.
that. I know that this has nothing to do with anything, but I'm gonna throw it out there anyway. I have, after Mr. Bartlemy was in my office, I did contact a lot of the other, actually I sent it out to all the assessors and no other county, that all the other counties do it the exact same way we do. They don't put a value on that common area. They have it into the values. And how it was stated to me was if you sell, in that vision, of course, we just said this, but the sale should reflect a larger value than a subdivision that doesn't have common area. And so that would show up. So, but that's not to say we're not really going to start a big project
Yeah.
on this.
Well, I don't disagree with you, Mr. Bartlome, because I think the transparency issue on that would be useful. But at this point in time, there's nothing we can do about it while they begin working on their project.
And the answer here back from the State Tax Commission is 6/2023 that says what you're doing
Is correct.
is according to law.
Right. But I do agree, and I know he knows I agree with this too, that I do agree that there needs to be some way to show the taxpayer what that's happening, and right now, we haven't got that figured out.
Well, it'd be great if on a parcel viewer or something like that, that it had the value that was being assessed at.
Right.
I mean, taxes is a whole different thing, but if it had the
Assessed
assessed
value.
value on that piece of property, and then that assessed value is divided between the 9 properties, but that's what is more work, more struggles. Yes, sir.
Just a quick comment. This came up last year. Me and I had a discussion. We talked about a third line item on the parcel viewer representing that same thing. We did have that discussion.
And we did, but unfortunately, I was not the assessor yet.
Right, I
And then
understand.
when I was put in January, I didn't have time to,
Right,
this is a
understand
huge project.
Well, a parcel viewer, not just our program, right? I mean,
Well, yeah,
it's
but
used
we're the
throughout
one
the
that they get our data from.
But it's used throughout the state. I mean, if you're
Oh,
gonna, if you're
yes.
gonna change the programming of it, it's not just a simple, well, I wanna go in and just
It's-
change this.
Right,
It-
right. And we also
more.
have to do it in our CAMA system as well, our ProVal CAMA system. And I don't think the CAMA system will do that either, but we're gonna look into all this, we really are, yeah.
So at this stage of the game, we don't really have a resolution for you, but we're working on a resolution.
I have a comment for them now. I don't
Okay.
know where we're at in time, I know whatever, but
Well, this should now be a discussion right here, but I'm gonna allow you a comment to us, because you're not talking to them.
I know. I'm just gonna throw this one, we talked the HOA stuff. I'm gonna give this to them, I don't need that, they know, Anita and I talked about this. This is an HOA situation like you say the state says to do. Well, it's under an HOA, it's still assessed at 0, and there is not an HOA even developed on that. There's not even an HOA assembled yet. So how can somebody's got to pay taxes for the last 3 years on something there's not even an HOA on. It hasn't been assessed. So I wanted them to see that, and
And you heard my opening statement. It's our duties to either
Right.
raise or lower or keep the same. And we did the same last year. We found property that had 0 values on them. And when we brought those individuals in, they appealed when we assessed them. They weren't real happy, but I told them, you didn't say a single word when it was 0. You know? So, anyway. Well, any more comments on this piece? We have a motion?
Mr. Chair, on parcel RPR 401-302-3316, I make a motion that we uphold the assessed value as presented.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And you have the right to appeal, and the state or tax or the district courts.
You bring up a great point, though.
Thank you.
okay.
And who are you, sir?
Phil Coleman, I'm a little bit early, I just thought I could drop in, but I've got 3 o'clock.
Okay, I had 2 individuals that didn't show up to this one, and so I was wondering if you was coming in late, but I'm glad you're here early instead. All right. First one we have then is Thomas Huber, or Huber Thomas? Thomas Huber. Just his argument is no improvements, 5-acre lot, recreational only, Thunder Mountain, 5 acres, and you're assessed at 83. Any comments?
I've looked at the other parcels up in this area, and that's consistent with that area. So, Mr. Chair, I would make a motion that on parcel S20, that's not right, what's the parcel number? Is it S20? RPRRLR 4010500, that we uphold the assessed value.
We have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we have Bartholomew Roy.
Roy and Darcy.
I cannot believe our property. Their land value actually went down. Their improvements went up 60,000. But he says he looks on Zillow, and that homes are decreasing in value. Let's see a preponderance of evidence. This is a fourplex. No. Is that, no, that's a later one. This is a fourplex.
Well,
I think it's 107 a square foot.
Mr. Chair, I looked at Zillow, and Zillow has his value substantially above where the assessed value is. So,
That's the same reference they used.
using that, Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion that on parcel RPCPP 119300, that we accept the assessed value as presented.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
With that, we are at recess till 3.